Good morning. My name is Tom. I come from a Norwegian company called Virinco. We're a gold sponsor here today, as you can see by the beautiful golden background we have here. Just a heads up, the content of the presentation is going to be primarily relevant for those of you who are directly or indirectly related to manufacturing test systems. So for the rest of you, my apologies. I'm going to try and not to bore you too much. So there's three main reasons why we are presenting here today at GDevCon. The first one is general awareness building for off-the-shelf test data management, showing you that there is something that already exists for the things that you typically would try to build yourself. Second reason is an introduction to a referral program that we are introducing and piloting now in the UK, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. Now the last but not least reason is just that we are good Samaritan looking to contribute to the community. We have a company that is built up around the LabVIEW and NI ecosystem. I myself hold a CLA D. At least I used to do that. So we just want to contribute to this great event. I worked in NI myself for several years. At one point I was even the responsible person in Norway who would help you find your compact Rio in Measurement and Automation Explorer, for those of you who remember that. Yeah. Little compact Rio joke there, sorry. Okay. But before I go into what test data management is, I figured I'd just say a few words about why test data management, or why our solution exists. And it is because there are some very generic struggles that more or less every manufacturer are facing. They have unnecessary warranty claim. They spend too much time, too much labor cost during manufacturing. They spend too much time on test equipment because the throughput is not sufficient. So when they scale up volumes, they need to scale up the test systems as well. And most, if not all of these categories are very related to the fact that they have insufficient data available. They're not able to see what is going on at the present time. And the effect of that is that profitability goes down. So they're losing money, they're not really sure where it's going, but at the end of the day, they're not retaining all the money that they could. So these are complex problems when you start thinking about it. It's also then something that requires a complex solution, but still a solution or an approach that is simplified enough for you to be able to efficiently work with them. And this is where WATS come in. So we are helping our customers with these problems in achieving control of the manufacturing, to helping them to become best in class in that area. So that sounds amazing, I'm sure you're thinking. Can you be a little bit more specific? And I'm not going to go into a spec sheet presentation. We have some features, listed on the roll-ups over there. You can see me afterwards, of course, if you want to know more. But if you want to say, what's the concept? First of all, I want to say what it's not. And it's not the same as Diadem, for those of you familiar with that. So Diadem is primarily a tool it's more related to kind of R&D tests, analysis of scientific data. We're looking at statistics, metadata statistics. And WATS is a standardized platform for data acquisition, meaning that it's something that you can deploy throughout the entire organization, throughout the entire all the factories that you are working with. And it's also something that it's not only a tool, it is a process for prioritizing how you work on the data, so that you're able to identify the bigger problems that you have and start with them instead of just starting with any problem that you find. It is a process that allows you to focus on both product quality, in the sense that you avoid having factory escapes or defects going out of the factory, something that will later just going to be returned from the customer. But it's also something that helps you understand what is the quality of your internal process. How much time do you spend on retesting? Why are you retesting? Is it because the operator is doing something wrong? Is it because the test equipment is faulty? Very often it is. We see that incorrect test limits is a major problem for companies. They are designed at the early phase, like in new product introduction. They're not followed up and they're just forgotten. But it's also an application that has wider applicability than just for the people involved with manufacturing test. It is something that is relevant for R&D, for services to follow up on product history of RMA items, for QA staff, for management. So why can't you build that yourself, you're probably thinking. Your co-developers, your creative masterminds, all of you. And to be honest, I mean, you could do that. For a simple project, you probably should as well. If you just want to look at the simple frequent failure chart, if that is all in the project scope, maybe this is overkill. But the thing to remember is that the underlying problem that you're trying to solve, if the end user is a manufacturing company, it's never simple. It's always a complex problem. So we can't have a simple solution necessarily then either. I mean, very often these problems it's not technical only, it's bureaucratic. You're going to have a solution that allows you to go to an EMS and say, look at this chart, you're directly violating the policy that we have given you on how many times you're allowed to retest a product. And they are going to go back to you and say, it's because your test system is shit. So you need to investigate then, is this true? If it's not true, then you need some contextual information to feed back to them and say, this is actually not true. And that's a difficult discussion to be a part of if this is a solution that you have developed in-house. It takes a lot of focus. So I could elaborate on this, but I mean, this is probably not the time and place. What we could instead say a few words on is what is the benefits of this solution for you as a developer. So one thing is that now your system adds additional value to the organization. It is something that is where the information is being used by a wider range of audience. It provides input to management decisions. And in most cases, it does so with little or no coding required from you. So that might sound like a little bit of a flawed value proposition from me, since this is a coding conference. But what that means is that you can take that time and you can apply it to something else, something where the solution isn't available off the shelf, and you can increase the core value of what you are delivering. And again, not to go into any technical details, but just to mention, so it's not just test data management and analytics that we're able to provide you here. We have workflow designers so that you can specify forced routing in a manufacturing environment. We have serial number, MAC address distribution. We have software and firmware distribution as well. If you want to design packages to be deployed across multiple factories around the world. So Chris Roebuck, as I'm sure many of you know, was kind enough to provide a statement here. I've kind of done some shit. Wasn't that 7 minutes just now? On what the value of WATS was for their organization. And I'm sorry, I just need to skip. I mean, it was something that provided a lot of value for management, something that provided a lot of value for the engineers. They gained additional insight by introducing it. It's introduced it at 3 companies now, yeah? So if you want to try this out, you can go to wats.com/GDevCon. There's a 3-month free trial. Normally it's 1 month available. And if you sign up by 3 p.m. today, then I'm going to have a raffle for 2 Google Homes. And you can ask this Google Home, hey Google, what is my true first pass yield for yesterday? And it's going to reply, honest to God, sorry, I don't know how to help you with that. At least for now. So the next phase, I mean, we have a presentation at the back end of lunch, last 15 minutes of lunch to introduce a referral program. So this is something where you as system developers or somebody who has an existing contact network within this manufacturing industry is able to earn a good commission simply by just referring a trial. No requirements, no post or no pre-requirements to do so. If you need promotional content, it's something that is provided by us as a standard package. It is something that is currently piloted in the UK and in Benelux. We're hoping that this will change then very soon to be a part of our standard program, so it's available for the rest of the world. So regardless if you're from the UK, Benelux, or otherwhere, if you think this is interesting, then join me at 12:15 in the room, in the first room after the breakout area. Okay, thanks.